Hello YouTube, my name's Natasha and I've decided to start a YouTube channel. The reason why I have is because I've been watching a lot of documentaries lately and I've really noticed how much us American citizens really don't know about what's going on behind the scenes. There's a lot of greed in the political parties, as well as, all these big companies that have all these lobbyists, and, we as Americans assume that our government is taking care of us. But unfortunately for us, most of the time that's not really true. Most of the time, the government is looking out for the government. It's looking out for itself. It's looking out for the people that work there, the politicians, the lobbyists, the big companies that they support that are funding our politicians and their campaigns. So, one such documentary that I really enjoy would be Food Inc. It exposes a lot about the USDA and the type of people that work there. We think that the USDA is supposed to make sure that all of our food is safe and everything we put in our bodies won't harm us, but it's untrue and there's a lot of people that end up getting really hurt. And we also believe that the government will wrong any rights that they've done, which, in the case of Food Inc., for the woman that lost her son, we found that the government doesn't really help at all. They really support the big businesses, and it's really sad when it comes down to it because we've got a lot of people getting sick and a lot of foods being sold to us that's not healthy and not safe for us. And the USDA doesn't require these companies to test it. They've got all these laws and regulations around it that they let the company test it themselves, and who knows whether or not the company is, going to present correct information, or they might just put it on the market without really testing it thoroughly. And, there's that movie. Then the other one I've been watching is The Business of Being Born. I watched that yesterday, actually. It was really good. Watched it on Netflix. It was really interesting because I never, I had this idea in the back of my head that, it's interesting how our health is getting worse, but we still have all these drugs coming out and these companies are getting more rich. And, I thought it was just some kind of paranoia I had, some kind of conspiracy theory that I was coming up with in my head, but come to find out that as far as with, births, women are basically, they force the women to hurry up with their pregnancy because they don't want them to be in there too long. Because if a woman's in there for 24 hours because she's been in labor so long, they're gonna not make as much money as they could if they cut her off at 12 hours and made her pop that baby out. So with that documentary, I learned a lot because it's telling us that our health system is not really there to help us. It's there to make money. All these drug companies are trying to make money, and and like doctors, they treat your symptoms. So if I have horrible migraines all the time, they're going to give me a medicine that's going to treat the symptoms of the migraine. They aren't going to actually look at how or why I'm having the migraines. And so they treat the symptom of the migraine. So say that medicine that I'm using to treat my migraine symptoms, say that medicine makes me start twitching or something. Then they'll give me another drug that's going to stop the twitching. If that twitching medicine gives me another symptom, then they'll give me another drug. And there was another documentary that I actually saw that goes into detail about that, because The Business of Being Born is more about, birthing and stuff like that, and home births and conventional births and the differences. And I can't remember the name of it right now. I'll get back to you and I'll let you know below in the little description section. And it was about these kids, they're pumping these kids full of drugs, and it was scary because these are young kids, and one of the kids just looked so sick. He's supposed to be taking these medicines to make him better, but he looked so sick. And it was really sad too. So there's that one. The other one I watched was, and I know some of you are going to give me crap about this, but I watched Capitalism, a love story. And of course it's a little bit biased. It's Michael Moore. It's going to be skewed to his side of the story, but you should watch it from your own perspective and with your own mind, and you're not going to be brainwashed. But it was interesting to see a little bit into what capitalism really is all about, and it goes back to the whole fact of why our government is so corrupt. why there is corruption, why it exists, because we've got these lobbyists slipping money into someone's pocket and saying, hey, you know what, I'll give you this much money if you let me sell this product. And so of course we're going to have, capitalism is going to end up being a little bit skewed, and it's not really there to help middle class or lower class citizen. It's really there to support people who love spending money, or people that have lots of money to spend, which are, you know, going to be rich people, the top, you know, 10% maybe of America. Those are the people that are going to be best benefited by capitalism as it exists today. Not that capitalism in itself is a bad idea. I just think that it has become something a little bit tricky. So those 3 documentaries were really interesting. You should definitely check them out. So that was Being Born, or Business of Being Born, Food Inc., and Capitalism, A Love Story. Some other ones that I have seen that are very, very good are also Dirt. That's one that most people haven't heard about. And that one's about it's basically kind of an environmental documentary about our soil, about how it's depleting because of all the agriculture we're doing, all the pesticides that we're putting on them, and all the nutrients that we're taking out of it. And how, especially like in Haiti, before this whole, you know, earthquake disaster thing, they had lots of issues with growing food there because they had destroyed their dirt. And we don't think about how important dirt is to us until you watch this documentary. And it's, you know, dirt provides us everything. It provides us food, it provides us clothing, because we have animals that eat the food that we get our clothing from, like wool, for instance. And it also supports our buildings, you know. We get minerals and rocks and things like that that we also use for building materials. We get metals from the ground, from mining and stuff like that. So, you know, a lot of the stuff, you know, gets chemically processed and treated, and it's not just from the earth anymore. It's the earth plus some other things. But if we didn't have that original earth there, we never would have had those extra things. A lot of our drugs originally came from the earth, and you know, now they've been replicated. A lot of the chemicals that we found on earth have been replicated with our medicines, and so that's kind of how we've been treated. And so in a way, the earth has given us everything. Not to sound like a crazy hippie or anything, but the earth does support us, whether we want to believe that or not. Everything we get, agriculture is from the earth. You know, agriculture is of the earth. You can't have agriculture without having animals or earth or dirt or plants. As much as we don't want to appreciate it in America, it is very important to our well-being. So yeah, so there's my little splurge. And so I'm going to create a channel on YouTube, basically kind of talking about a lot of the stuff that we see in these documentaries. A couple of things, like I want to talk about food, or food safety, and how to better prepare yourself, and how to get healthier foods for yourself and your family. I want to talk about some simple living skills, because everyone can use those. It'll help you live cheaper and help you learn how to basically rely on yourself and not have to rely on the government or anyone else for any handouts or such. I also want to end up talking about factory farming, food preservation, chicken, sustainability, natural health. That's something that I don't know a lot about, but I've been interested in learning about it for a while. So I'll be learning, and you'll be learning at the same time. So of course I'm very open to questions and comments, and if I ever get any facts wrong, you can definitely comment below and correct me. So yeah, welcome to my channel, and I look forward to hearing your comments. So thanks.